This road is new. It sparkles under the heat of high noon, unperturbed and disturbed by the speed, the weight, or even the sound of the cars it must bear and guide all the way to the end of itself. It is a lazy Sunday for me, and after a few miles of driving, I pull over. I am fascinated by this desert, the endlessness of it, something that appears to be nothing but isn't quite nothing. It is extremely hot, 90 degrees or so, and I have a bottle of almost frozen water. It feels cold on my skin, but the contrast is rather soothing. I want to take in the wonder of this landscape. This is Arizona, and I am very far away from the nearest civilization, the nearest urban dwelling. Phoenix, Tucson, Mesa, Chandler, Gilbert, Glendale, Scottsdale, etc., etc. They are all miles away. This is a state of more than 7 million people. But out here, it is just me. The paradox does not escape me that paradise for me right now are the barren lands of Arizona and not a green, flowery oasis reminiscent of the biblical Garden of Eden, for example. That happens to not be the case today, at least. I think the silence is rather enchanting. The occasional roar of a lone motorcyclist or a car's engine, but this road appears to be more popular with lone motorcyclists than it is with vehicles or cars of any other kind. There's occasionally a screech from what I think is a bird of prey up in the sky, an eagle or falcon of some kind. They fly with supreme confidence. Their presence in the sky are stark contrast against the endless blue. I wonder where they perch, seeing as there's not a whole lot of tall trees here. They must fly endlessly again until they get their kill and then fly back endlessly, perhaps to northern Arizona, where there are pine forests and higher mountains and cooler temperatures. But they own this land. They fly hither and thither fearlessly. I quite admire that spirit, the spirit of the West, I suppose. The Colorado River is not too far from here, either the river itself or a tributary of it. I am curious to see what effect it has on the desert. The soil is sandy and loose when you touch it. It falls through your fingers nicely. It feels loomy and fertile, but it's dry here. It doesn't really rain, so unless you do a soil sample analysis, you're not going to take a look at the quantities and types of green growing plants here to be able to tell just how fertile it is. It feels well aerated, and I suppose the redness comes from iron oxide or rust, and if a sample was perhaps carried out and tested, as I'm sure it's been done previously, it would probably show high levels of iron. But don't hold me to that. I could be wrong. With that in mind, my assumption is that the Colorado will be a long, winding patch of green, a clear contrast against the rusty redness of the rest of the land. So I'm going to go out there and hunt it down and see if I can find it. Not sure if it's the Colorado or a tributary of it, but there's certainly a river of some significant size down the road from here. This is the Navajo Bridge. Down below us is the river. It is surprisingly a very popular destination. Judging by the diversity of the crowd here, I am obviously not the only person who missed church today. This is a fascinating bridge. I thought it was going to be a suspension bridge, but it is not. And I am told that the original bridge was of a similar structure and it was replaced by the one across from here. The original bridge is what we are standing on right now. As you can see, the water looks green. There is a bit of vegetation in the immediate vicinity of the water, but it is not a patch of green like I thought it was going to be. Perhaps because the land down there lacks soil. It's very rocky and barren, and so nothing can grow in that sort of environment. The greenness of the water is due to stringy green algae, which provides food to the fish. So if you want good, big, healthy fish, you need that green stuff. There is a dam upstream from here, and that's perhaps why the water looks so low. So I'm going to head that way and take a look. I would imagine that the folks who designed the dam must have sat and considered the impermeability of the rocky structure of this land. Of course, that is an assumption on my part. I don't know how permeable or impermeable the rocks are, but this is Powell Dam. It goes all the way back for miles and miles, and since its construction, I am informed that it has changed the ecological balance of this area. Some will say for the better, some will say for the worse. The most recent complaints is that the dam is not getting enough water, perhaps due to less rainfall or increased consumption. I do not know.